When you hear the word Buddha, what's the first thing you picture? For most of us, it's probably one person, right? Sitting quietly under a tree. But what if I told you that's just the tiniest piece of the puzzle? Today, we're going to dive deep into the Avatamsaka Sutra, one of the most profound texts in Mahayana Buddhism, to uncover its completely mind-bending answer to that very question. What is a Buddha?
So let's just put the question right out there. What is the true nature of a Buddha? According to this sutra, the answer isn't a person, it isn't a place. It's a reality so vast and so deeply interconnected that it basically challenges the very limits of what we can imagine.
All right, let's jump in. The first huge idea the sutra throws at us is that the realm of a Buddha, or a Tathagata as it's often called, isn't some far-off heaven. In fact, the sutra says its scale, its sheer immensity, is identical to the boundless potential of your very own mind.
And notice how direct this is. This isn't just nice poetry. The text is stating a fundamental fact. You know that feeling of infinite space you can sometimes access in your own consciousness? The sutra says that right there is the nature of a Buddha. They're not two different things.
So how do you even start to describe something so incomprehensibly huge? Well, the sutra gives us one of the most extraordinary metaphors you'll ever come across. It just keeps building and building, layer upon layer, to totally shatter our idea of what vast even means. And it all begins with a great ocean. So first, just try to picture 25,000 massive rivers, all flowing day and night from every corner of the world into this one ocean. I mean, that's already an amount of water we can barely comprehend, right? But believe it or not, that's just the warm-up.
Because it doesn't stop there, not even close. The sutra says, okay, take all that water from all those rivers, and now imagine 10 mythical dragon kings appear and rain down enough water to double that entire volume. Then 100 more dragon kings come and double it again. You see, the scale just completely explodes.
And this just keeps on going. Group after group of these dragon kings, a staggering 80 billion of them in total. Each shows up and doubles the already astronomical amount of water that came before it. The final volume is, well, it's so big it might as well be infinite.
And then, after you've built up this picture of a functionally infinite ocean in your mind, the sutra delivers the punchline. It says that even this ocean isn't 1,000th, not 1,000,000th. It's not even a decent comparison to the wisdom of a Buddha. It's just beyond analogy.
So if a Buddha's wisdom is that vast, how does it actually act in the world? This brings us to our next point, a really cool paradoxical idea, the action of no action. It means a Buddha's activity is completely spontaneous, totally effortless, and nothing ever gets in its way.
You know, when we act, there's a start and a finish. We decide to do something, we do it, and it's over. But a Buddha's action is more like a law of nature, like gravity. It doesn't start or stop. It's just this constant, beneficial presence that simply is, without any kind of intention or effort behind it. And to make it clearer, the sutra gives us two really beautiful images. First, think of a bird flying through an endless sky for 100 years. Can you measure the space it's already crossed versus the space still ahead? No way, right? They're both infinite. Or think about the sun and the moon. They light up the whole world, they help everything grow. But they do it without thinking, where have I been? Or where am I going? They just do. That's the nature of a Buddha's action.
Okay, now we're getting to what is, for me, the absolute heart of this entire teaching. After we've explored this cosmic, boundless scale, the sutra brings it all right back home, to the most intimate, most immediate place imaginable, our own mind, in this very moment. So after all this talk about infinite wisdom and effortless action, you have to ask yourself, where does all this actually happen? Is it in some far-off realm, billions of years from now? Well, the answer the sutra gives is way more radical and way more accessible than any of that.
This is the climax. Just let this one sink in. In your own mind, and every single thought that passes through it, a Buddha is achieving complete and perfect enlightenment. It's not some goal off in the distance. It's the constant underlying nature of consciousness itself happening right now.
And to be absolutely crystal clear about it, the mind isn't just a vessel for enlightenment, it's the field of enlightenment. There is no other place for a Buddha to wake up. It all happens right here. This is the spot.
So this naturally leads to another big question. What about nirvana?
A lot of people think of it as a kind of final exit, a disappearance, but the Avatamsaka Sutra offers a much deeper way to see it, explaining it not as an end, but as a kind of skillful teaching.
The sutra uses a perfect metaphor for this. It says, a Buddha's wisdom is like the sun in the sky. It's always there, shining everywhere. Our minds are like little vessels of water on the ground. Now, if the vessel is clean and the water is still, it reflects the sun perfectly. But if the vessel is broken or the water is all muddy, no reflection appears. It's not the sun's fault, though. The sun never went away.
And that's the whole point. From our limited perspective, a Buddha only appears to enter nirvana. It's a teaching, a skillful way to help those who are too attached to seeing a physical form. The reality is, a Buddha's nature is constant and unconditional. It never really comes or goes.
All right, let's get to our final point, and this one is maybe the most practical and encouraging takeaway of all. It answers the question, what's the effect of just hearing these ideas? Well, the sutra teaches that any positive connection, no matter how small, plants a seed that is absolutely indestructible.
This idea is called good roots. It basically means that any moment of faith or understanding, or even just respectful curiosity about these truths, creates a cause that time and circumstances can't erase. It's like making a permanent deposit into your wisdom account. And the sutra gives us this unforgettable image to explain it. It says it's like if a man swallows a tiny diamond. His body can't digest it, can't destroy it. Eventually, it has to come out. It's the same with a good root. Once it's planted in the mind, it can't be destroyed by worldly problems or ignorance. It must eventually pass through everything and emerge as ultimate wisdom.
And honestly, this is the most hopeful part. The sutra says, flat out, that even if someone hears these teachings and is filled with doubt, maybe they don't believe a word of it, the very act of hearing it has still planted that indestructible seed. No connection is ever wasted. Its fruition is just a matter of time.
So we end right back where we started, with the mind. This whole cosmic drama, boundless oceans, unobstructed action, indestructible seeds, it all comes down to the nature of a single moment of awareness. And so the Avatamsaka Sutra leaves us with this stunningly immediate and personal question. If every single thought holds the potential for a Buddha to awaken, what will your next thought be?